Lin Zainab is a newly published author that self-published with Author House 18 May 2022. Her first book, Invincible Child, is a young girl quest to find where she belongs. Lin loves to read and write books, fanfiction, singing karaoke, or writing her own songs, or dancing. It's something therapeutic she likes to do. Lane also enjoys drawing, sketching, painting in her spare time. And on today's episode of our interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today, Lane Zainab. How are you doing, Lane?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very fine. It's such an honor to have you on the show today. I'm excited.
The first seen your message on this messenger group, I said, yeah, maybe it's a good chance to, talk about my book.
Hmm.
So I only had one interview and I thought maybe just like get a chance to talk about it more openly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pleasure having you here. So, Lynn, could you tell us about your book, Invincible Child? How does this book come about? What inspired you to write Invincible Child?
So I was around 19, 20 years old when I first started writing Invisible Child.
Hmm.
Um, so I left here in England. It's college, like a diploma. So I finished my health and social care diploma, and during this my health and social care tutor saw like my personal examples and so this could be like a book or a story or something. And
Hmm.
then it kind of like grabs into me. I always loved from a young age, I loved reading books, and I always sometimes went onto fan fiction to write like um some of my favorite about my favorite books and TV shows.
Hmm.
But writing Invisible Child, the main inspiration came from my own personal experience, my own personal example, and the experience of others, and I published that together in a book.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I love the sound of it, and particularly knowing when exactly you started writing all of this. It sounds very amazing to me. And now I'd also love to ask you, in case of readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect picking up Invincible Child?
So I don't have to kind of read a snippet of my book, or
Yeah, you can. You can read a
oh,
section if you love to.
um, I'm just gonna go just open this book at a random page and start reading from
Yeah.
let's say I'm gonna start reading from chapter 6. So, the first day back in England, Lynn and her family just rested up, but the next week they walked around town and bought school supplies for Lynn's brother. Lynn had all her stuff ready to enroll for her first year of college. For her first year, she wanted to study art and design, just to revisit the color and learn about different artists and their work and what the art was about. Lynn loved expressing herself through art or writing poems or journaling her thoughts and feelings. When she went for enrollment in art and design, she spoke to the art teacher. She suggested it would be better for Lynn to be in the second group since she had missed half of the day's induction and the next would offer the same induction that she could hear from the beginning.
Hmm.
Lynn decided to take his advice. So that's just at the beginning of chapter 6.
That's really amazing. I love your recitation. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, like I mentioned, this book is based on personal experience. So
Mm,
instead of going with first person, I did this. I just thought to myself, make up the character Lynn, which is closer to my name,
mm.
and just go around in like a third person on how Lynn felt and all that.
That's great. I so much love that. Now, I'd also love to ask you, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. I'm curious to know your opinion about criticism. How do you react to negative criticism of your books if you've ever had one in time past?
So I often create TikTok videos. On one of my TikTok videos, like TikTok is now like a viral social media, so
Yeah.
I keep that with my YouTube channel, but I mainly get more comments on my TikTok account. And one of them commented on my videos that was about my book and said, "Oh, I went to Amazon and you have a bad review," then there
Oh.
was a very negative criticism, which I kind of felt really scared about at first. I'm not going to mention who it was or anything, but at first I felt really shocked and scared, and I said to myself, you know what, that leave that negative criticism and just focus on your new books. I'm gonna write a sequel novel to Invisible Child, which will have a different title.
Mm.
Um, the sequel, because this is now where Lynn isn't feeling invisible on the second book. So I said to myself, I'm not gonna go concentrate on the negative criticism, but on the like creative criticism, like creative criticism. If someone read my book or said, I think Lynn, if you need to, or Aline, if you, I think you should maybe next time kind of work on this side or work on the vocabulary or add some interesting description, then I would. Those are the criticism I will mainly take up.
I'm just gonna say that I love your take on criticism, and I love the fact I love how you're able to react to it, because most people always feel so sad having
Mhm.
gotten something like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of amazing. I love the sound of it. Thank you so much for sharing.
yeah,
Now,
thank you.
absolutely. Now, Lane, I've always been fascinated about how authors, especially novelists like yourself, craft long sentences and brings words together in a way that it eventually makes a great novel. These always leave me thinking about how exactly they got their ideas and inspiration. Now, as far as writing is concerned, how do you get your ideas and inspiration? I'm curious.
How do I get my for my first book, I felt like just throwing out my feelings out,
Hmm.
my feelings and thoughts and feelings out into the book. For my second book, and then I decided to write kind of a second book, like a sequel version, where it's gonna be more leading on, but like where it's gonna be a little more dramatic, funny, humorous, comedic. Um, where I get my inspiration mainly is I love from personal experience. I love reading, memoirs and
Hmm.
biographies. Um, and someone that really encouraged me a lot was not just my health social tutors or my mom, but um, I think it's Her Majesty now, Her Majesty Queen Camilla. Actually, when she was Duchess of Cornwall, she has a love for books and reading, and she started her reading room. And following on to her reading room, that inspired me more to carry on writing. Yeah, but mainly my books are focused on personal experience. There will be some comedy for the next few books I'm writing. Yeah, I just
Wow.
love a good humorous book.
Wow, that's quite impressive. I'm excited to know that some of these are inspired by some of your personal experience. And, bringing experience into novel or into storytelling is something that makes the story read quite in a pulling manner and a compelling manner. So I'd say that's a great job you've done. Congratulations. Also curious to know if you experienced any challenges in the process of writing your book. If there is any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it?
The main challenges of writing this book was um so when I'm now on Book Talk and mainly on Book Talk, but mainly my Book Talk friends, they love a good fantasy read.
Hmm.
So, and now young readers as well, they love like fantasy, but mine is not really based on fantasy. And because my book, especially my first book, Invisible Child, was based on personal experience, sometimes whilst I was writing this book, I was like thinking, I do want to let myself be heard, and I have passion for writing, but I felt like because I have never studied English literature before, not even, with my GCSE in high school, I couldn't do GCSEs in high school, but I've only studied English language, but I've never done like studied literature before. I was really nervous that that was one of the main challenges why I kind of held back from writing for a little bit. But I'm a reader as well. I love reading books, so reading other books helped me a lot, with writing books as well.
Wow, that's quite amazing to know. That's pretty much amazing. We all have different challenges associated with
Mhm.
our writing, and it's nice to hear about yours and how you ultimately overcame it. Now, I'd also love to ask you, Lane, apart from Invincible Child, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Um, so like I mentioned, I'm currently working on the sequel version. It's called There's Always a Time to Forgive and Change. That's the
Mm,
title of my second book, which is, well, it's more a work in progress. I'm still working on that sequel version. I'm also currently working on a children's book of Invisible Child. Like my niece is a book, like myself and like my older sister, a bookworm, and I thought to myself, I want to create like something for her and also for other children who
wow.
don't always have the um don't get the right to read. And I said I want to create like reading Invisible Child. Some of it isn't like child friendly, this one version. So I want to make like a children's book with lots of pictures inside. And I've kind of also discussed the illustration with my brother and sister who are good at illustrating as well. So those are kind of two of my main work in progress.
Yeah, please show the book to the camera. That would be very great.
This is
Yeah,
my first book. Also, I've got my current work
beautiful
in progress
cover.
on my laptop as well.
Oh,
Always there's always a time to forgive and change. There will be a lot more comedy in that book, but
oh. That's great. That's really amazing. I really love your body of works and I love the making of it. Now,
Mhm.
could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any
um,
challenges you've encountered ever since it got published?
there has been many. The main challenge that has been for during the publishing process, it can sometimes this is self-published book and with
Mm,
author house, even Amazon. I feel like what done my research on self-publishing is that sometimes it it's not always an easy progress, especially during the publishing process. Self-publishing can be very expensive, so
yeah,
there were a lot of financial difficulties at times.
yeah.
Yeah, like looking mainly at indie authors, but like being becoming an indie author myself for the second book, but you know, there can be like financial struggles during the publishing process.
Wow, that's great. It's quite nice to know your challenges associated with publishing. That's really made for an interesting discussion. Now, I'd also love to ask you, Lane, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your books that we did not mention in this interview? And I'd love the viewers to know.
Um, I want people when they watch this interview to know about my book and my upcoming books as well, the children's book and
Oh,
the sequel version. I want them to know that, or if even if they're readers right now, but they are, they will study, want to become like writers, I will encourage them to go and read books, their choice of reading books. I will encourage them to take up, part-time jobs, a paid job where they can get paid alongside it. And also, if they want, maybe study literature. Well, I'm studying counseling in uni at the moment, so
oh.
they can always definitely go and read more books, and um, and also go to book signing event if they can afford to go to book signing event. I've not been to
Mm.
one myself, which I really would love to. I just seen them like via Zoom, like since the COVID. I just seen authors interviews via Zoom, but never like get to speak to them in person.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a very good advice you're giving out there, really. I love
Mhm.
the sound of it. Thank you so much. And now, Lynn, in case we have some interested viewers who are watching this interview and they would love to get a copy of your book, because we currently have people watching live currently on Facebook, and other people will be watching afterward on the P English Literature's YouTube channel. So, in case we have some interested viewers who are currently watching this, and they would love to get a copy of your books, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
Um, TikTok has contacted me with the TikTok shop, so I am
Hmm.
looking forward to, I need to do the sign-in process, verify my identification, but I'm gonna now put a link in with the of my book so I can, start selling my book through there.
Wow.
I also mentioned to my mainly on my TikTok and YouTube people that I want to, do this um on this meet and greet with the readers, like just get to see my readers in person.
Wow, that'd be great, really. And I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Alina Zainab's books directly on Amazon, on TikTok, on the other website, and another
Mhm.
platform. So thank you so much, Lane, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having you on the show, and it's awesome having this conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me as well. It was a
Yeah,
pleasure.
it's my pleasure having you on the show as well. I'm
Yeah.
excited.